My name is Talia Wise Carver, and I'm the DCS Foster Parent Recruitment Manager for Tennessee. Today, we are going to bring you a panel with lots of our experts in the area and answer hopefully all of your questions from start to finish of what it takes to become a foster parent. So up first, we're going to have Yvette Parker. And Yvette, if you will come on camera and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about that inquiry process.
Okay, yes. Like she said, I'm Yvette, the inquiry coordinator for the East Region. The inquiry process starts with you submitting an online inquiry. And from that, you will receive an email. The first email is just an automated email. Then you'll receive a direct email from myself or someone within the program. And that email will contain a link where you can register for the TN-KEY classes. However, I do recommend waiting until you've spoken with someone before registering, because you will receive a phone call usually within 3 days to review all the requirements, and just verifying your information about the process of becoming a foster parent for the Department of Children's Services. And we will review things such as the number of children in the home, any kind of criminal or DCS history you may have, the age of child that you would prefer having in your home, just some of the requirements within the home. For example, having at least space for one foster child in the room, meeting the requirements of having a door, for example. And from there, we will just review all the information, and if all checks out, make sure you understand the process for registering for the TN-KEY classes and answer any questions you may have about the process.
Thank you. Can I ask a quick question? What is the process if maybe there's some questions about whether or not they can move forward?
So if there are questions, we will send those over to the region that you live in, within the DCS region that you live in, and we will present those questions to DCS directly, and they will typically send us an email back and let us know if they have concerns, if you are able to move forward, or if they have concerns and you're not able to move forward, and we will relay that information to you.
Thank you. So up next, we're going to have Kim Bracken, and I'll let her tell you guys a little bit about who she is and what she does now, but she's going to talk to you about the TN-KEY training process.
Thanks, Talia. So like she said, my name is Kim Bracken. I work with Harmony Family Center. I am a foster parent recruiter. Before that, I trained foster parents for 18 years. So I am excited that you guys are interested in learning more about becoming a foster parent. So after you do the initial inquiry form, which Yvette just explained to you, you will attend an informational meeting. And this meeting is a virtual meeting, so you can do it in the comfort of your home, online. And it is a 2-hour meeting. And you'll learn more information about the requirements of becoming a foster parent. There's no commitment when you attend the informational meeting. You might attend the meeting and say, that is definitely not for me at this time, but I may do it down the road, or I may never do it. So there's no commitment. You attend the informational meeting. If you decide, yeah, I want to learn more, I want to continue with the process, then you will start attending the Tennessee or TN-KEY classes. What we hope to do through these classes is give you the information that will help you parent the children that may be placed in your home. So you may be a parent or a grandparent. You may have raised lots and lots of children. These may be your grandchildren that are coming into your home, and you already have a relationship with them. What we try to do through the T&Key classes is give you information specifically about children who have been removed from their homes. They've experienced trauma, and you may not have experience with parenting children who have experienced trauma. So that's what we hope to do through our T&Key classes. So the classes cover resiliency in our children. They cover discipline. We talk about how to navigate the child welfare system, and we talk about being a partner with the birth parents, with the Department of Children's Services, with the court systems, the schools, the therapist, all the different people that are going to be working together to help this child and family. Once you start the T&Key classes, we refer to them as modules, and there's 4 modules, 4 classes that you will be attending. Again, those are all online, and each class is 3 hours, okay? Once you start attending those classes, you may receive an email with some paperwork to fill out, and that is going to start the background check process. There's several background checks that the states require of prospective foster parents. After you complete your 4 modules of training, there are 2 other trainings that are also required with T&Key. One of them is a CPR and first aid training. That is going to be an in-person training. So you will go to a training site to complete that training. You have to show your skills on mannequins during that training. If you already have a CPR and first aid certification, you may be waived from taking this class. It would have to be a CPR that covers infant, child, and adult CPR and first aid. It has to be an in-person class. There's certain requirements that it has to meet for you to be exempt from the class that we offer. So you'll talk with your trainer about that. You'll submit your documentation of your certification, and your trainer will pass that on to see if you can be waived from that CPR and first aid class. The other class is a medical resources and information class, and that is an online class. It is 4 hours. It is taught by a nurse. There is a 10-question multiple choice quiz at the end of the class, but the nurse will make sure you know the information needed for that quiz. The last part of the T&Key process is a MAP meeting. And that's a meeting that you're going to have with one of your trainers. And typically that is also something that's being done virtually through Zoom or Microsoft Teams or whatever. But you're going to meet with your trainer. If you're a 2-parent or 3-parent household, all of you will meet at the same time with your trainer. And your trainer is going to just take you through a lot of the topics that you've talked about in the T&Key classes and ask questions of you, and you'll have opportunities to ask questions of them. Your trainer has to write an assessment on you. So that's why that trainer needs to gather all this information about you. That assessment talks about what you learned about in class, your understanding and your feelings about what you learned about in class. That assessment then goes to your home study writer. So I'm going to turn it over to Deborah now, and she's going to tell you about the home study writing process.
Thank you, Kim. Like Kim said, my name is Deborah Dial, and I am a home study manager for Harmony Family Center. I work closely with DCS in making sure that we get some good quality homes because they sure need it. Kim mentioned briefly about the background checks. So when you start the classes, they will provide you a link to complete some of the forms. There are a few forms that need to be completed pretty quickly when you start the classes. That will help us go ahead and get started with your background checks. We do local background checks, national sex offender, the Tennessee Abuse Registry, the database check, which is a system within DCS, and we do a driver's license check for motor vehicle background. All that information we gather on the front end. So if there are any questions about anything that might pop up on your background, we will get in contact with you. Our background check coordinator will also be in touch with you to set up fingerprints appointments to do your fingerprints here through the DCS system. Even if you had fingerprints done within your workplace, we still require them with the DCS so that it is in their system directly. Everyone in the home 18 years old or older will be required to do background checks. So be sure you keep that in mind when filling out that paperwork. After your second class, and after we receive all of your background check results, we will gather all your paperwork that you've completed and make a referral packet for a home study. So it can be as quick as two sessions in. Sometimes it might take a little longer depending on when we get all your background checks completed. Depending on your schedule on when you can get fingerprinted. Those are a couple of factors that might delay getting your referral started. But once I get your referral packet for a home study, I will find a writer in your area to work with you and your family to go through paperwork that DCS requires. They will do interviews with everyone in your household, children, adults, privately. And then if there are 2 applicants in the home, then we'll do a interview with you together. They will come out to your home and inspect your home for any safety hazards. We understand if you have children already in your home, it may not be the cleanest because there might be toys everywhere, and we completely understand that. We just want to see a good glimpse of your home and just kind of walk through some safety items. During the T&Key classes, they will discuss that a little bit more about the requirements and the other paperwork that's required. The quicker you get that paperwork done, the smoother your process will be in completing your home study. It is very important to just be prepared for that home study. When you start the classes, go ahead and just continue to work on that paperwork. And you should be done quickly soon after getting started with the home study process. And we look forward to working with you all. We appreciate you taking this journey with Harmony and with DCS.
Thank you, Deborah. Next up, Cindy Thornton. Will you tell us, where do these kids come from? How do we get the kids in custody? And what do we do to prevent them from coming into custody?
Okay, like Talia said, my name is Cindy Thornton. I am a foster parent support team leader in the Smoky Mountain region here in Tennessee, and I do want to go over some commonly asked questions by our foster parents. Number one would be kind of how this all works. How do we get kids? How does this happen? So most times, not all times, but most times, it starts with a Child Protective Services referral. Someone has called in a referral to our hotline and with concerns about a child. Our Child Protective Services case managers goes out and they do an investigation. That does not automatically mean a removal, though. We don't always remove children when we're investigating. There are many things that we do to prevent custody. We have a program called FSS. We can open an FSS case, which is non-custodial, in the home. We can do something called an IPA, which is a parent agreement where the parents agree for the child to be placed with a relative or a friend or something like that. But the child is not brought into custody then. But when we do end up having to do a removal, it's definitely not just one person's decision. It's not that investigator. Has to go through multiple supervisors, attorneys, the judge. Everyone has to agree. It's a very big deal to remove a child from their parents. So there's a lot that goes into that. But when we do remove that child, our very first goal in foster care is to reunify that child with their parents, if we can at all. That's our main goal. That's what we're going to try to do if we can. If we can't, number 2 on our list is finding a family member that is appropriate, that can take that child and possibly become a foster parent themselves for that child. We will look there second. Thirdly, we will look at traditional foster care, which most of the people watching this would be looking at. So if we end up placing in a traditional foster home, there's quite a bit of responsibilities and that kind of thing that you all will have with the children. And there's quite a bit of things that you all will have to do, like appointments. The kids will have to have medical appointments. They'll have to have dental appointments. They'll probably, not probably, but could have therapy that you would take them to, different kinds of occupational therapy, individual therapy, possibly family therapy. There will be visitation with the family or the parents that a lot of times you'll transport to. There'll be court hearings that the children will sometimes be required to attend. We definitely ask that you attend as well. There's things called child and family team meetings that are held quarterly for our children. You will probably be asked to attend those to provide feedback in those. Those will go on throughout the life of the case. Some other questions that come up are like daycare. If foster parents, we've got foster parents, they both work, the state does provide daycare for those children. There's a list of approved daycares throughout the state that will take our vouchers from DHS so that you can have daycare for the children placed in your home if you work full time. There are also some services that we sometimes put in the home. We have programs and things that can come in and help you manage the kids if there's issues, if there's behavioral issues, if there's certain things, if it's a very small child. We have a program that comes in and works with you with them if they have some sort of developmental delays or anything like that. There's programs that will come in and help you with the child. There's quite a few services that we will provide in your home if needed. Another question that foster parents ask a lot is how long will a child remain in foster care? And that is a question that cannot be answered at the beginning of a case. We really don't know. It could be, a few months to a year. We like to see children find permanency within most definitely the first year of care. Sometimes that's not possible. Sometimes it can be shorter than that, but we really don't know at the beginning of a case. It just depends on how things go with the parents, how things go with the family. It's not something we can answer at the beginning. We also have quite a bit of support for our foster parents out there. There's an on-call hotline for after hours that you can call. You'll have that number that you'll be able to call the hotline, get some after hours help if you need it. You will also have every child placed in your home will have a family service worker assigned to them that will be visiting your home, visiting the children, coming and providing, assistance with things like I mentioned. They will help you with the daycare part. They will help you with the visitation part, things like that. You will also be assigned a foster parent support worker who will be assigned when your home first opens, and they will follow your foster home, not the children, but your actual foster home throughout while you're an open foster home. You'll always with DCS have a foster parent support worker assigned to you. And I think Cynthia Hagan is going to talk about that role. Thank you.
Yes. My name is Cynthia Hagan, and I am a foster parent support team leader in the Upper Cumberland region. And like she said, when you become fully approved, you are assigned a foster parent support worker. That worker will follow you throughout your home. They will support you. They will ensure your home continues to remain compliant. They'll ensure that you have the information you need to complete training. Anything that you struggle with or you need more help with, your foster parent support workers there. Now, you may end up with multiple workers in your home because when a child is placed, that child comes with a worker. And if you have multiple children placed from multiple different areas, you could have different workers. But that foster parent support worker is the one that's going to manage your home and be able to support you in those aspects of things. They visit typically one time a month, but they're always available, with any questions or anything you need. some areas have foster parent associations. Those are meetings that foster parents get together and they discuss things and different things going on in the community and different areas of needs and different things like that. Not all areas have those associations, but there are areas that still do. There's lots of trainings that we will provide you. You will have a certain amount of trainings that you have to complete each year. We give you a list of different options for that, with some that are requirements and some that are just elective hours that you can choose from. We have on-call staff 24/7. If you can't get your foster parent support worker, of course, each child has their own worker, and there's an on-call rotation for that, so that you can always get somebody if there was an emergency or something happened in your home. We have a mentor program. That is where you will be assigned a more seasoned foster parent that you can ask questions, you can discuss concerns or different things with, and they can kind of guide you through the process and guide you through fostering. If it's something that you just don't want to ask a DCS worker, you would rather just talk to somebody that's actually doing fostering themselves. The next part is kind of placement. When you start to get those placement calls, when they start to call you and ask you if you'll take specific children, we do put, and we put out there what your preferences are and what you prefer to take, but that doesn't mean that that's just what you'll be called for. There's a high probability you'll be called for all ages, sibling groups, just whatever you could have space for, just while we're trying to exhaust everything we can to find placements for these children. These workers will call you, they'll explain the children that we have, the ages, all the demographics that we know. They will explain any behaviors that we know. You just got to make note that a lot of times we're getting these kids in and we don't know much about them. So what we're relaying as their behaviors or things that have happened or trauma in their life, it's things that have been reported to us by a parent or somebody else significant to the case, and we've not been around that child enough to know if there's additional behaviors or other things that could come about once placed with you. So yes, we share with you everything that we can, but we don't always know all of that information. Will the birth parents know where I live is a common question asked. No, we do not disclose that information. We will ask that you work with birth parents. We ask that you mentor them. We ask that you, if you feel comfortable, to do visitation and to kind of guide them through parenting and the process and kind of build that relationship with them. But we do not disclose your residence, what your address is, or anything like that. We leave that up to you to discuss with them and to kind of build that relationship as comfort arises. If you say no to a child, will you get additional calls is another common question asked. Yes, of course you will. We want you to say no if the child does not meet the needs of your household. We would much rather you say no on the front end, that I just do not have the space, this child doesn't seem like it would fit well with my family, or things like that, than for us to place that child and then have to turn around and move that child again. That's more detrimental to that child than being able to get in one location and stay. So by all means, please evaluate all the info. If you can do it, we always ask that you do. But if for some reason you feel like that is not the needs, or what you cannot meet that child's needs, then absolutely you can turn down that placement and we will continue to call you. That should not affect that at all. And then lastly, a common question is, if you don't feel comfortable doing a placement, can you do overnights, weekends? Yes, absolutely. We are always looking for people that will do respite for us. That's other foster parents need a break, or they have an emergency, or they're going out of town and they need somebody to keep the children for a weekend or a week at a time. We have children that come in and we just need a tent placement, maybe something overnight or maybe something through the weekend. We absolutely are looking for families that are willing to help us through those situations as well. So there's lots of support we can provide you, lots of things we can do for you. And we just are excited that you're interested in this process, and thank you for contacting us.
Thank you so much. So we've heard a lot of amazing information today, and I know sometimes that information can be a little overwhelming when you get all of it in 35 minutes. But What our role is to help guide you through that process. And on another slide here in a minute, it'll have how to reach us once you determine you are ready. And that's the part we're super excited for. You're ready to start this journey or ready to just learn more about the journey. You're going to go to fosteringtn.org and you're going to click that Get Started button. When you do that, it's going to take you to the inquiry form that Yvette talked about at the very beginning. And that is that first step. Whenever you get that call from one of our inquiry coordinators, you're able to ask all of those questions that you may have and hopefully start your foster parenting journey. And we also have a hotline. The number for that will be displayed on the next screen as well. So we are excited for you and can't wait for you to join us in your fostering journey.